You're listening to the StudioPTBO podcast, where we talk all things marketing to help you build and grow your business online. Welcome to the latest episode. Well, welcome to the StudioPTBO podcast. We are back, and we have a guest, Neil. This is exciting.
Yeah, and
so
it's
exciting.
because it's not me.
Yeah, I know. Finally, I can talk to somebody other than you.
Yeah. Connor Massimo in the house.
Yes. Glad to be here, fellas. Good to be here finally.
Connor, the guy who saved my back, and he saved many people. That's, I think, how we got to know each other. You became my physiotherapist, and Connor's amazing. I've had a lot of physiotherapists in my time, a lot of aches over the years, and I had a bunch in Toronto, and I lived in Toronto 20 years, and in Peterborough I tried out a few, and Connor's just been incredible. And through that journey of him helping all my ailments, we got to know each other and talked a lot about marketing and branding and social media strategy and entrepreneurship. And Connor's completely locked into that ecosystem. And because of that, he's destroyed it and accelerated the growth of his business. But it's just...
And it's crazy. Yeah. And I think, I found you really early on because you were an early adopter to social media. I was running a lifestyle based brand. You were kind of on this panel of health experts that were, really trying to provide value to the community. And it's really cool to see everything that you've done on social media. So for maybe the people that don't know, maybe you can kind of give us a 30-second synopsis on who you are, what you do. Tell me a little bit about your business and just where you are at now.
And let me start by saying, I'm Connor. I always try to mimic Connor because he's got the coolest...
Got that deep voice.
Yeah, it's the coolest voice.
Sure.
But
Thank you. Connor Massimo. I am a co-founder of Pulse Physiotherapy in Peterborough with my business partner, Adam Summers, who is fortunate enough to be away in Italy right now with his family, and I'm holding down the fort, right? So... we started up Pulse 2014, so we're coming up this November will be our 5-year anniversary.
Wow. Congrats, man.
We're doing a Vegas trip to celebrate. Yes.
With the entire team?
Adam and I are taking our wives.
Don't
get me in trouble. I didn't overcommit myself.
Yeah, there's no vault on this trip.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we started up 5 years ago, just with Adam and I and admin staff at the front desk.
Totally.
And now we just did a big expansion last fall. We are up in the Asta Plaza on Chemong Road in Peterborough, and we took over the adjoining unit of the plaza. That used to be Carl Asta's hair salon, and they were nice enough to move down to the lower level for us to allow us to expand.
Doubled in size within 5 years.
Yeah, a little bit more. I think we were 1,700 square feet, and now we're 5,000. So it was almost a triple, which was pretty cool. We had needed that space for a long time. We had been, having a kind of an aggressive wait list and no real way to mitigate it because we were working as much as we could, but there just wasn't physical space to grow anymore.
Makes sense.
So this was a perfect opportunity. We already love the plaza. It's in the north end, which is just kind of expanding rapidly in Peterborough. There's good parking, so there's a lot of good positives. The Astas are great landlords to have. So the fact that we could expand and not need to move our whole business was really awesome. So similar to what you guys did here, I guess.
For people that don't know, so it literally the genesis of your business was one night at a campfire after a couple beers, right? Where the best companies are born.
All the best conversations.
Yeah. So tell people about that, the idea, and why you decided to go for it with Adam.
Yeah. Right? So Adam and I were working both as physiotherapists at a clinic and had become good friends over the few years that I had worked there. He invited me up to his cottage one time in about an hour north of here on one of the many lakes in Ontario, and we were up there and just talking and having a couple beverages.
You mean shooting the shit?
Shooting the shit. I didn't know if we were swearing.
Yeah, it's okay.
On this. Okay. So yes, we were shooting the proverbial shit, and we were just kind of throwing some ideas back and forth, and we both thought, We really love what we do. We love being physiotherapists. We both kind of thought we had that entrepreneurial spirit somewhere in the background that was never really trained. We don't get any kind of formal business training in physio school. And we just had some ideas of things that we, not necessarily wanted to do better, but just do differently and make them our own. And that day we just kind of committed to the fact that, yeah, we're going to do it. We don't really know how we're going to do it yet. We literally bought a book about how to write a business plan.
That's awesome.
Specific to physiotherapy world.
Yeah, we still haven't done a business plan for here, have we?
Yeah.
We figured it out. It's not rocket science, though, is it? Owning a business.
No, I mean, you kind of can figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with people that know a lot more than you about
100%.
it. We've always been focused on being, good at what we are good at. So we try and provide good physiotherapy.
Yeah, stay in your lane.
Yeah, we stay in our lane. We try to, promote a positive place to work and create a good work environment. And those are the things that I think we're good at. And some of the more businessy type stuff, like the marketing and things like that, we leave to guys like you. And accounting, we use Bobby Govro and the crew over there. And just get the right people in place that know a lot more about that kind of logistical stuff than we do, and let us stay to the physio side of things.
Yeah, Connor locked in with us early years ago, and in the infancy of their business, do a feature post on PTBO Canada, and I think Aaron Elliott wrote it on you.
Yeah.
And it really, you said you got some good exposure off that and some good leads coming in. But I think, like, for me, Connor from the get-go, is sort of not disrupted his industry, but just by being so locked into the community. And it's like we talk about on so many podcasts, like he went to a lot of events, he networked his ass off, right? And he did all the things you're supposed to do, and he's authentic and genuine. It's not like fake, right? It's just, Connor's the most soft sell dude you'd ever meet, right? He's softer sell than I am. But it works, right? And that deployed with, obviously you have to be a great physiotherapist, great customer service, have great staff, great culture, but your social media was just, you learned, and it's off the charts. Like, your Instagram account passed 10,000 followers recently, and tell people about that, because for those that don't know, so it's Pulse Physio on Instagram.
Yeah, at Pulse PTBO.
Yeah, because you've definitely had some hiccups over the years with social media, which we'll go back to later on the Facebook side. But how did that happen with Instagram?
Yeah,
how did it blow up like that?
Instagram, I first off started it, we're just under 2 years now, so it was in August of 2017 that I started our Instagram account. And you mentioned Facebook, so it was a bit of a downtime there, and we can tell that story later. But so I just, out of necessity, because I had kind of gotten into finding the value in the social media, and not just from a marketing standpoint, but just from community building and meeting new people. I met a ton of people locally here that I never would have met, probably including you guys. But
totally.
But also just in my industry, physiotherapists that have big followings and that are well-respected physios who have accounts in the rehab world on Instagram.
Right.
There's some accounts from Canadians who have 500,000 followers that are physiotherapists.
Wow.
Right? So getting to know those people and actually having a chance to talk to them and bounce ideas off them just based on having your own account and them being willing to give you a tip or two, and then just meeting a ton of new people. I'm involved in a new group called the Level Up Initiative, which is an initiative out of Boston where Zach Gabor, he and a few other physios have started this initiative that we kind of think there's some missing links in the world of physio school, in the actual education piece. So he's started this platform where you can do a 4-month online mentorship program with physiotherapists that are more senior than you if you're just out of school, if you're still a student. So I never would have met Zach. This is going to be my second term doing the cohort, so we're starting up in August. But people like Zach out of Boston, I never would have met before without the social media handle.
Yeah.
So that's been a huge thing. And then, obviously just I think a big part of the growth of our business has been our exposure online. And
what is your strategy, though? I mean, I love your content, but walk people through it who haven't seen it. I mean, some of your videos have had like 100,000 views, I think.
Maybe what we can do as well, like in the video, is like kind of take one of his videos, throw it up. Rob's looking at me. Back there, Rob's like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna do that.
No more homework.
That's homework there. We're gonna throw it up.
So it's a big learning curve on social media, especially on Instagram. But early on, I kind of found that a lot of the accounts from physiotherapy clinics we're just posting the same stuff over and over again in slightly different ways,
Right.
which just becomes redundant and probably not that engaging if you're a follower or a viewer of that stuff.
Totally.
And I found that there are a lot of physiotherapists or physiotherapy clinics that had accounts that just kind of hover around 800 or 1,200 followers, and they've been that way, but they've been existing for 4 or 5 years, right? And don't really see a lot of growth, and not any means anything against those companies, but I just kind of started to look at what was similar about all of them and say, okay, well then how could we do something maybe different that's a little bit more engaging?
Right.
A big thing in the rehab world on Instagram is split screen videos, right? And Instagram, for whatever reason, in all of their infinite algorithms, seem to like split screen videos, and they seem to do well for us.
Very well for you in particular.
You had one post a little while ago, like where it was split screen. Had like over 100,000 views.
Yeah, I think it had like 125, 130.
Was that organic?
Views. Yeah.
It was pure organic.
Pure organic, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, and on those types of posts, my big learning curve has been hashtags. So actually putting enough out there, but also finding the ones that match up with the people that are interested in this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Right. So
totally.
Using hashtags, not only like hashtags with physiotherapy, and in the States they call it physical therapy. So those are kind of some of the big ones.
Yeah.
But also some of the stuff like weightlifting and powerlifting and CrossFit.
Stuff associated with it. You could get injuries, and then you have to go to physio.
These kind of sports that end up going to physio and using these types of services.
Right.
That tend to have really big online presences already. Just through hashtags, you can kind of tap into a lot of those as well, and I found that to be super helpful. So on a post like that, where it was 125,000 views, when you go and look at the algorithms afterwards and look at the insights, like 100,000 of those are from hashtags. Wow. Right? So those types of things have been super helpful for me. And at some point, it's a little bit of a crapshoot, because then sometimes you could post the exact same hashtags and you get 1,000 views, so it's not just that.
So at 10,000, how are you deploying the swipe up feature now?
I'm very fresh to the swipe up.
We are too. I mean, PTBO Canada's been there for a while. I'm happy with it. We probably don't fully utilize it to our advantage. I'm still trying to figure that out. I mean, you and I talk about that all the time, the swipe. But what's your strategy been so far with the swipe up?
Yeah, so we just got to 10,000 like a week ago.
Okay.
I think.
But you must have been thinking about it for months, Connor.
I think I've only used it honestly once so far. We've got a new...
feels like a new toy.
Well,
like,
almost. I didn't really know how to use it. Like, what do I do? But we've got a new reformer Pilates studio in our clinic. So Pilates machines, for anyone that's not familiar, you can do Pilates on the floor, like a yoga style mat Pilates, or you can do it on these Pilates machines. So Becky Sheehy is her name, and she's runs an Instagram account called Sweat Happy Wellness, who's also doing very well. She's over 9,000 followers right now. And she's
Sweat Happy
Wellness.
That's cool.
And she's out of Lindsay. So her and her husband Kent actually started the studio at our clinic. So that started just over a month ago. So that's how I used my first swipe up. Was, I kind of posted a little video of what that looked like for people that aren't familiar with it. And then did a swipe up to Becky's sign up page, where it was like half off your first class.
Oh, sweet.
So like just a direct
drive to offer.
A direct link to that.
For those that don't know, so when you hit 10,000 on Instagram, you can swipe up directly to a website, because you can't do the direct link on a normal Instagram
the only way that you can do that is if you're running an ad.
So
that was my first trial. But even looking back on the insights, it had like 70 link clicks. So I thought that was good for one day.
That's amazing.
For one day, for a free post, got them some more attention, and a couple people just direct message and ask questions about it, right? So, I think it was cool.
So have you always been like this? So, or did you have to be lucky as a business owner? Like, or did you just dial in this early? You're like, man, I like, if we want to grow our business, because there's a lot of pressure being an entrepreneur. I mean, Cody and I know what it's like running and having employees and building and the overhead cost. Like, were you like, this is like, or have you always been like a technical guy back in school? You had interests outside of.
And I think to add to what you're saying is like, a lot of people, kind of like, to add is a lot of people, they want to do social media, but because they're doing so many other things within their business, they're struggling to find the time in the day. And I see this happen a lot, even with the Marketing Hacks group, is like, I want to take a photo and I want to post it, but I'm too busy. Like, you are running a business as well, and you're running a growing business. What advice would you have to those people, and how are you overcoming these obstacles?
What he does is he puts ice on my back for an hour.
Yeah, just
I hate that go-to move. And you guys don't do that.
We do. You will not get that.
No.
In Pulse Physio.
Well, we'll get back to that.
We try to get people moving, but with that kind of thing, I mean, it's one of those things where it's you just kind of have to have an idea of what your vision for your company is, and our vision for our company was always to make the quality of the product that we're giving, and the product that we're giving is a service. We don't sell any products per se. It's the service of physiotherapy or the service of massage therapy. And if we can get that out to the world, that this is how we offer that, because that's not a product that's streamlined across the board, right? In physiotherapy, we talk about this, and I was on a podcast recently about physiotherapy, and there's a bit of a branding crisis in physiotherapy.
Interesting.
And in physical therapy across the States as well. But people don't know what it is, right? And not just to say because they haven't been before. Maybe they have been before, and that was not what we'd consider the most evidence-based or the top of the line care. They were sent to a place. They were assessed really quickly by the physiotherapist, and then kind of maybe given something really quick to do, and then put on a machine, and they didn't really know why they were on this buzzy machine. And then a physio assistant came and saw them and said, how was that? Good to go. And there isn't this kind of continuity of care of like, who's my person, like who's actually looking after me when I'm here. Because when people go for physiotherapy,
it's very personal.
99 times out of 100, they're there because they're in pain. Right.
It's acute.
We would love to see more of a preventative type of care,
which I started to do with you. I'm like, I would come to you not in as initially it was because I was in a lot of pain, but then over time Connor's like, well, no, come earlier and I can be proactive with you rather than reactive and teach you how to actually strengthen yourself.
I think that like for you, from a brand perspective, like you captured that really well within your tagline, movement for life. And you're doing that really well, that teaching the preventative maintenance like as a knowledge partner within the industry.
It's reverse engineering.
You're almost reverse engineering the actual industry, like from what I've seen anyways, like especially with the videos that you're creating. It's like, here are some ways that you can like create preventative maintenance. It's like rather than I know early on you said like like if you have pain in your back, like do squats, like strengthen your core, like so how has the industry like kind of shifted, or how is it shifting now?
It's starting to shift, and I think it's shifting for the better, and it's really research and evidence that pushes that, right? Because there's always new money being put into initiatives to find out how do we better help people that are in chronic pain, especially low back pain is always the common one.
It's me for years.
And back to our tagline, I think I give Adam credit for that one. Adam, my business partner, he came up with movement for life, but we kind of thought of it as a bit of a double entendre. So yes, thank you. The tagline. There you go.
Thanks for the swag, by the way, today.
Yes, repping Meg McGregor from Fully Promoted. She did up the gear for us. Movement for life. It was a good look.
You're saying it's a horrible look, and don't ruin my brand.
No.
You're like a farmer.
I play that farmer card.
So movement for life, right? So life requires movement. The more mobile you are, the better life you tend to live, right? But also movement for life, like throughout your years, right? So we see small toddlers and the odd baby at our clinic, right? And even in mothers, we have a big focus on pelvic floor and pelvic health physiotherapy. So we have physiotherapists that treat that niche clientele individually. And so we see literally people when pre-birth, right? Prenatal.
You're getting them early, Connor?
Yeah. And then I posted.
We need to start going after fetuses.
Yeah. And then I posted a video a few weeks ago of a lady that was a client of mine who was doing squats, and she's 95, right?
Wow.
So literally movement for life, because it provides quality to your life, but also throughout your years. So starting early and continuing throughout your life.
Walk me through the old school thinking. So when I went to physio a lot in Toronto and Peterborough, I would go, and I was joking about it earlier, but they'd either put heat on me or ice and then be gone for 20 minutes. And it's like, well, I could do this at home, but I'm going to do it. But so where does that come from? And then what I liked about what you did is, again, you were very educational. You were in the room with me more. You explained everything. And you said, Neil, you don't have to be on the defensive. Go on the offense with your body. So why aren't you all taught that way? Or where does that happen? Where did something break down along the way that I just had to be heat and ice?
Yeah, it's hard for me to speak really to a lot of that past, because I've been a physio now since 2011, so for 8 years. But we tend to
still exists.
It still exists. We still see it. But why did it happen? I'm not sure. I struggle to think of any other reason than it makes you more money short term.
Okay.
You can
that's what I'm getting at.
You can physically see more people in the day,
right,
if you spend less time with them. So I would like to give a better answer than that. But
that's the answer I thought you were going to give. And the answer I would give to that for anyone who's doing it in other industries too, taking shortcuts, is do the right thing and look at what happened with their business.
Yeah.
They've doubled in size, doubled their employees in 5 years, have a phenomenal reputation because they are educational. They spend the time with you. They educate. So I don't know. It's a different way of doing it. So that
totally.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the core business model. And then further on, and you and I chatted about this at lunch the other day.
Lovely sandwich.
Sam's Deli.
Shout out.
Yes, shout out.
Yeah.
The Sasha.
Another great brand, Sam's Place.
Great,
and the redesign that Kyle did.
But the other element is where have you advertised your business over the last 5 years?
Yeah, only on social media, really.
Crazy.
Yeah,
and wide demographic. He just said he had a 95-year-old.
Yeah. So obviously we can't ignore the growth organically just through word of mouth and referrals. From getting to know more of the local physicians.
Yep,
and,
totally.
So that's been a big. It's not just social media in that sense, but we haven't really spent any formal advertising dollars outside of social media, and we haven't really spent a lot of advertising dollars on social media if we're looking at it in the grand,
pretty organic.
the grand scheme of things,
which
most
is really
of it's
cool.
been organic.
Yeah,
we do the odd boosted post on Instagram or Facebook, but
was that your strategy from the get-go, being non-traditional and going on social media, or to build the business?
I don't think because when we started, it wasn't as big of a thing in the rehab, the physio space at least.
Okay.
A couple years into our business, maybe 2016, I started to see people are doing well and posting some really good educational stuff on here. And kind of going against the old adage that you have to hide your secrets, right? I can't give away free information, otherwise people are going to steal it or whatever's going to happen.
I think that's bullshit.
I think it is too, because I think the more we give stuff away for free, the more people want to come and see us, right? So I don't agree with that necessarily, right? But starting to see that other people were doing it, people that I respected, and I think they were doing it in a tasteful way that was educational, fun, but also helpful just to the everyday person that maybe doesn't have exposure to what physiotherapy is.
Yeah.
And trying to get beyond that idea of physiotherapy is where I go and they rub my shoulder a bit and then they put a machine on and then someone else comes and takes it off. Just having more of a continuity of care. And Adam and I, in that initial business plan that we had to buy a book to how to write a business plan. The odd time we look back on that business plan and a lot of it is still true today, right? So we wanted to create a space that had a lot of room to move. Yeah. For first and foremost, we wanted to have private treatment rooms, right, where you're not in a little curtained area where it doesn't feel like you can have a conversation. Yeah. Because if you're talking to someone who's had 5 years of low back pain, there's more to it than the disc herniation that they think is all
Totally.
there is to it.
Yeah.
And we got to dive into some more conversations about what are their lifestyle choices and what's happening in their life that maybe is not allowing them to break out of that cycle.
No, and I was always aware of that too at places I've been with the curtains, that I can only say so much and I had to whisper, and it's you're self-aware because you know the person in the other room, you might know, especially in a small community, right?
100%.
Yeah, it's like being, it really is at some level like going to a therapist when you go to a physiotherapist. It's a lot of it's mental, right?
Yeah, a lot of it is, there's...
You had to get through that with me with, like, I have a good attitude toward life, but my attitude toward my back sucked, right? And you're like, Neil, like, you got to, like, get over that and, like, strengthen your damn back and get back to playing basketball and tennis. And so it's a mental hurdle, too, with clients.
It is, and a lot of it we kind of always refer back to this overarching theme in physio where we try to follow this, what we call the biopsychosocial model, right? So the bio is your body, like your body is a machine, right? That's the biological side of things. The psychological is what you're thinking, what your thoughts are, and the social is your environment, right? What circumstances brought you to where you are today, right? And all three of those play an equal part in why someone is in pain and in finding the way out of pain for that person, right? So if you're super biological and you're trying to crack this and do that, but you're not diving into why that person's still in pain, right? You're probably going to fall short.
What am I, Connor? Where do I fall in this?
It's always a spectrum. And you're on there somewhere.
We don't want to.
No. So let's dial back to earlier. You said you went through this moment with social media that you ended up going to Instagram. So the good came out of the bad. But let's walk people through the bad, because this is an important exercise for people to know. Like, so explain to people what happened to your Pulse Physio Facebook page.
Because to the point is a lot of people who would go through this issue would drop the platform altogether and drop social media altogether.
Right.
So I think this is good to chat about it.
Resilience. So walk us through this.
Okay. Long story short, this was December of whatever the year before I started Instagram, or like the year I'd started Instagram. So probably December 2017.
Okay.
But Instagram wasn't really a huge focus yet. Like I maybe had 500 followers.
Facebook, we were going all in basically.
Yeah, Facebook, we had
the
like
videos we did for them on Facebook. Yeah,
we had a few thousand followers on Facebook, which I find are more challenging to get than Instagram followers.
Yep.
So like that was like more than Instagram probably. And then one day I came and I tried to log into Facebook on my phone and I couldn't. And I was like, well, that's weird. And it was like, you forgot your password. I went through all those things. Nope, nothing. Couldn't get in. Long story short, my account had been hacked, my personal Facebook account, which is the one that I was running the Pulse Physiotherapy business account through. Adam is many good things, but he is not into social media. Right? So
we've talked about that.
He's our numbers guy, right? He does all those things, and he does a great job at it, and that's not my thing at all.
And your recovery email, you didn't remember. It was a Hotmail from like 1974.
Connor is cool at Hotmail.com.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But kind of, right? Like you didn't have a solid recovery.
Yeah, I didn't have a good recovery email set up. It was my old McMaster University like email that you lose access to like a year later. I didn't know about any of these security things. I just had never cared to know about them, really.
Yep.
And long story short, I couldn't get back in. Found out that it was actually, of all things, a Russian hack. Because every time I went back, my email,
damn Russians.
My email had been changed to like a .ru account. Yeah. And my name was still the same. And luckily, nothing negative was posted on our business account. So I actually did some researching as to like why would anyone do this other than just to spite you for no reason. And like because I had my business MasterCard set up through the account to do boosted posts, they can access the card that way.
Okay.
So as soon as I was hacked that same day, I canceled the card and they just ditched the site.
Right, but you couldn't get it back.
But I couldn't get it back.
And you tried everything with Facebook. I tried
everything, and there's literally no way to contact Facebook.
Yep.
Especially if you don't have Facebook. Right, so I was going through.
That's a good point. If you don't have Facebook anymore, how the heck do you?
So they're like, they're like specifically ad accounts. There are different people who have direct access support. Like Cat Howell would be one of those people that have like a direct support line because they run ad accounts.
A lot of business owners don't have that.
Yeah, we didn't have any access to that, and anyone that I tried to contact about it, it was just crickets. Right.
Yeah.
So
I texted you back.
You did text me back.
Shit,
dude. You guys tried to help me.
Yeah, we did.
Like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, fair enough. So what did I learn out of it? I learned a lot more about how to use Instagram because I didn't have access to Facebook for the business or personally for about 4 months until they let me make another personal account. Every time I would try to make an account, they would
remember
flag
that.
the account and then take it down.
So how did you get a new
following
account?
day.
I forget that
I just
part.
kept trying.
You just kept
Just
trying.
kept
Good for
trying,
you.
and
He's resilient, eh?
Eventually,
That's
I think it was out of the like 3-month phase or whatever.
yeah,
timeline
probationary
is.
Russian phase.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I have Russian friends. Nothing against Russians.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
just
just the
happened to be a
hackers.
Russian hack.
It's
and
just the
They're
hackers.
very good at hacking.
Yeah.
I think. So that was that. I got better at Instagram in the meantime. And when I say get better, I just learned, what works well and what doesn't work
Yeah.
well.
So out of bad, that was a huge positive.
It was, yeah, because I think there was.
Don't you need a Facebook account to have an Instagram account? So how did that work?
It
then?
was a funny thing where my Instagram was still up and running.
So you're on borrowed time with that technically too.
I couldn't, how you can tag your location. I couldn't tag my location because
Right.
that runs through Facebook.
Wow.
But I could still post on the Instagram.
So he could have lost his Instagram.
I could have lost
too.
everything. Yeah, I ended up learning that the 2-factor authentication is a real deal,
Yeah, it's
and
legit.
you should use it.
Yeah.
Everyone should use it. Anyone on here that's running a business account, start that today under your security settings. Because I've had a couple experiences since where such and such has tried to log in. I get a text and then
Right.
I log back in and it's all good.
Yeah.
So these are things that you learn after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
sure.
other thing is having multiple admins on the page.
Yeah.
You know, like you have multiple admins, that eliminates that too. But again, the 2-factor authentication is like massive. Like that's why a lot of companies like Stripe and PayPal and all those guys are using that option now, 2-factor authentication.
It'll be
like,
3-factor in a few years,
know,
and
yeah.
5-factor, and
5-factor,
Yeah.
10-factor.
You'll be paying for
Yeah.
the premium 6-factor. But
All right.
so let's talk about entrepreneurship and what advice would you have? How many years in now? 5-year anniversary you're celebrating.
yeah,
So
5
what
years
advice
coming
would you have, or what would you say? What would you tell Connor 5 years ago if you're starting up again? And what would have you done differently, if anything?
Have another beer.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, thank God you were
Thank God
sober
you had
and
that
you
beer.
Yeah. I mean, I've thought about that before, and I think it's.
Would have you done much differently?
I don't know. I'm really happy with how it's going. Not that we haven't made mistakes, because we have for sure. But I think the big thing that I would tell anyone is, like, if you have an initial view in mind of what your company or whatever your idea or thought is going to be, put some pen to paper and write it down and see if it makes sense.
Okay.
Right?
We should do that, Cody.
That was a big thing. And then actually try to stick to it as much as you can, right? Like, not that you can't change things, and obviously you have to be flexible, and things move and things happen that you weren't predicting. But yeah, we've gone to, Adam and I, 2 physios and a receptionist, to now having, we just hired another, so now having 8 physios, three massage therapists, a full-time clinic manager, an admin manager, and we've actually just done a cool change. I think it's cool anyway, on the nerdy business side of things, to actually shift some of the roles of the ladies who are really on the front lines at the front desk, and just change the outlook of what their overall job is.
I
right?
like that.
So
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So we've now
Operational stuff.
titled them client experience reps.
Love it.
As opposed to admin staff
Love it.
or receptionists.
And
Right?
you've empowered them more.
Yeah,
to feel-
and we've added another one full time so that there's more time. They can do the back end side of things, all the paperwork, billing insurance companies, all the phone calls that they're already really good at. But now they have more time to be spending face to face with people in the clinic.
It's great.
Because
they're your first point of contact. You know, a lot of people forget that, right? They think the
and
back end's the
last,
most important.
first
And last,
right?
yeah.
They're the only. We went to a conference about 6 weeks ago, and it was the first and only conference we've ever been to dedicated to business that Adam and I went to. And it was actually business for physiotherapy or chiropractic clinics. Like, it was a specific conference.
That's cool.
And there was a whole section about, how does your front desk staff work? What does that look like? And they made a great point, which is that's the only person that you're going to see if you come in for a visit on the way in and on the way out, right? Like, that's
Totally.
they have 2 points of contact.
Yeah, it's the most important.
And
at
how
some
does that
level.
experience go for that person? Can have a big overall arching theme.
Sets the tone.
Their whole
totally
client
does.
experience is decided by whether or not that went well. And it starts from the phone, right? From their initial phone conversation of whether or not they want to book. So we've tried to do a little bit of revamping there. And I think our staff's really been happy with. just the outlook, and also having more opportunity, right? And
so why did you make that adjustment? Was it based on retention, or just wanting to change the culture, make it even better? You're always just trying to improve on what you have, or did something happen that made you want to?
No, it wasn't anything negative that happened. It was more about, we've had this knowledge for a year or so now that we've needed to do more of a formal training and just kind of revamp how things are working, not because they're not going well, but just because we think they could go even better and make the experience for someone even better, right? So
they have the same conversations we have here. We're doing well, but what could we be doing better everywhere?
And it's not just the physiotherapy experience that you give, right? It's the whole clinic experience,
holistic thing.
and the whole environment of what does it feel like when you're in that building? What does it feel like when you talk to someone on the phone about booking an appointment, right? Do you feel like they care or not really, right? And if it doesn't feel like they care, is it just because they simply don't have enough time? Because they're already on hold with someone else, and they're doing someone's insurance booking on the computer, right? So we added another full-time position to actually free up more time to allow that process to happen, just to make it more of a smooth transition of the whole client experience being a positive one.
Love it. What's the macro goal now? So Pulse Physio, did you ever want to franchise it? Do you want to just keep it you and Adam, and like, do you want to expand someday to, because you're going to outgrow that facility eventually, right? Or you could stay where you are and you're doing really well, hit that ceiling and just stick with that. What's the goal? Or can you let us in on it? We'll sign an NDA. And
an NDA and then post it. Just beep this all out.
Rob's like, what are you doing to me? No.
Are the 5 listeners going to tell anyone?
We got more than that now. I got a lot of family. We're up to 10.
We have a lot of family.
Exactly.
Chatham. But can you let us in on the part that you are comfortable? Like, what's the...
I could see us... like you said, I could see us outgrowing our space, and whether or not that would look like, just starting in a new space one day and making it physically bigger, or adding another location potentially. I've got some friends who are physiotherapists and business owners in Toronto, right downtown, who have just added a second and third location within 2 years.
Makes sense.
In the downtown core, just to get to different areas of the city.
West End, Connor, if you
I don't know if Peterborough's big enough to support 2 Pulse Physiotherapies, but maybe we haven't.
You'd be the guinea pig. Test it out.
We would be the guinea pig for sure. And so those are some of the big dreams right now that don't really have defined plans per se. But we could see that happening in the next 5 years, because we've been really pleasantly surprised by the growth so far. And our big thing is, as we grow, try not to change too much, right? Like, try and make things better as often as we can, like we talked about, but also keep doing the things well that have allowed you to grow, right? So we haven't decreased appointment times. We haven't, added more scheduling to our day to try and make us feel overworked. We always end at 2:30 on Fridays. We always have weekends off.
Love it.
We're always going to keep it that way, right? People need to have family time and a good balance, right? And what we do, instead of adding more appointment times to our own schedule, is we add more staff, and we really try to search to find the right people. And so far we've been really fortunate to have really good fits so far.
But I still get Connor, right?
You still get Connor when you call.
Connor's not going to hand me off to someone, but they're all good. And I'm saying, when you're starting a business and then new people are coming into the ecosystem, you can just not funnel them, but send them to a different person right away. So that's the relationship built from the get-go. Mine was with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
and we always do that, right? And when people are calling in to book a new appointment, if they've been told by a friend that they wanted to see Adam, and that's who they've got their eyes set on, then they'll see Adam, right? They may wait a few
Who's
weeks.
more popular, Connor or Adam?
Oh, Adam's more popular. and way better looking. He's got that cool, like, he's pulling off having a bald head but a beard. Right? So I'm losing my hair and can't grow a beard. So
you just gotta shave it off.
It's not gonna go well for me in about 4 to 5 years.
Well, enjoy the next few years. Just milk it.
Neil's there too, so you're okay.
I'm good, but I'm old though. He's young.
Lush head of hair here. Look at that. And he decides to cut it off. Right?
Yeah, I know. Cody, grow a mullet,
so
man.
Annoying.
Grow some flow.
Just massive flow.
So annoying.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Connor, it was amazing to be able to sit down once again. We kind of did this, you and I, like many years ago.
This is Cody Mann from Create Your Purpose, and we have Connor Massimo. Massimo.
Way more energy.
Yeah,
Cody, what happened to you? Did you stop with the caffeine?
Yeah.
Did you get off the double espresso?
Yeah, double espresso. No, I still drink a lot of caffeine. It's just I have to deal with Rob on a daily basis, so it tires me out.
Right. Yes.
No, but seriously, thank you so much
And
for
congrats.
stopping in the studio. Thank you for the shirts more than anything.
Yeah.
And the
We're
trucker
gonna rock,
hats.
the trucker hats. You know,
absolutely.
Farmer hat.
The farmer hat.
Like a farmer hat. Yeah.
But you know, if there was one piece of advice you could give to a business owner, you know, let's even go a little bit more micro. One piece of advice you could give to a physiotherapist that is graduating, you know, and looking to start a business, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, so to a graduating physio, someone that was newly out, I would honestly say go work somewhere for a couple of years. Not that you have to do that, but everyone that I've talked to that has done that has really found a lot of value in it, right? So go work for someone, because you're just trying to figure out how to be a good physiotherapist at that point, right? Like you haven't had enough reps under your belt, right? You got to get in there, get in the trenches, talk to people, learn different personalities, what works, what doesn't. And then after you've done that and start to feel more comfortable, then branch out and figure out, how am I going to make this better? How am I going to make this different? I think that was super valuable for Adam and I, to learn the good and the bad and things that we really liked about things and things that we would do differently and maybe it would work better or not. And then you kind of experiment as you go, but actually getting in there, getting in the trenches and first and foremost, being a good physiotherapist in our case versus trying to be a good business person, I think will just naturally make your business grow, and keeping the focus on that as you grow.
Great advice. And what he's saying is no campfires out of school.
Yeah.
No beer and campfires.
No beer and campfires.
Yeah, nobody does that in Ontario.
Yeah, exactly. Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for tuning into the Studio PTBO podcast. If you're not already in the Studio PTBO Marketing Hacks group, it is a group of entrepreneurs. Connor's in there as well,
it's great.
And he talks a lot, which is great. I love it. You know, full of entrepreneurs, business owners that are looking to grow and scale their business online. Just tons of marketing hacks, marketing tips in that group. You know, we're going to post it in the comments below. So you're definitely going to want to join that group. And Neil, you have anything else to add before we close out the podcast today?
No, who has the best posture at the table, Connor?
For
Yo, the
Connor
entire
Massimo.
time. So no word of a lie. The entire time I was like,
I know, I'm
so
so
over. I was like,
I know, because you're normally like slumped over.
Oh,
like
wow.
I am. I'm like Connor. I'm not gonna be a poser and pretend that I have good posture.
Okay, here's the
like,
finisher, guys. Your best posture is your next posture.
Next?
So your next posture.
Oh,
Right.
Okay.
So just move more. Right.
Oh,
That's the
movement
key.
for life.
Yeah, movement for life.
should be your
Your
tagline.
best posture is your next posture. So
Okay.
there's no such thing as perfect posture.
I
just
like
move
that.
more often. Get out of your seats and move a bit.
That's cool.
that's why we have standing desks.
Yes, exactly.
Not
I
you.
get that.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been
Thanks for
super
having me.
fun.
It's been great. We will see you soon.